All right, everybody. My name's Rich Lennon. I had to take a little bit of time off. It to me seemed inappropriate to talk about growing the money when so many things were going on across our country in the last week and a half. And so I needed to take some time. At first, it was just kind of the graphic nature of what happened. That was super hard to see, and so on that first week, yeah, I just needed some. I needed some time, and then the second thing that happened was watching all of my friends and colleagues and associates and people in my community reacting to what had happened shook me again, and watching some of those things play out was difficult and it was hard, and I felt inappropriate to come on and speak about it. And then I had another shift on the Monday afterwards. I was out and about, and I was doing some work, and then I got that work done, and obviously this had been on my mind. So I walked across the room and sat next to some people that I knew had different opinions than me, and I was seeking advice. I was seeking understanding, and one of those people was so upset with my questions that she stood up and she left. Very upset with me for asking some questions, and then the other people there did try to talk me through their perspective and tried to help me to understand where they were coming from, and I do appreciate that. Um, I'll say this: anybody's watching me, myself, my neighbors, my community, my family, we all live in our individual echo chambers. That's a confirmation bias that human beings have, and that means that you seek people who confirm your own beliefs. It's a very human thing to do. So if you believe one thing, you will naturally surround yourself with other people who think the same thing. And one of the tough things about our world today is that social media really thrives on that. And someone wants you to click on something or watch something, and um, they have this confirmation bias where they just keep feeding you the same information. And what I would suggest that everybody do, regardless of what your beliefs are or where you stand, is you need to be intentional about removing yourself from your own echo chamber and going to join other people in their echo chamber. And that can be very hard, particularly if they're friends and they're people that you know. And I just want to throw out there to the world that you need to go outside your own echo chamber, and you need to be receptive to other people outside your echo chamber and enter theirs and listen and converse and talk. And we're all humans and we all are struggling, and it's important that we are kind in times like this. My next thought is Generation Z. Generation Z, I'm particularly interested in. My kids are involved in that generation, and they will be particularly hit by the events that have unfolded in the last couple of weeks, last week and a half. They watched Charlie Kirk. They watched him grow up is probably the right word. So they watched him evolve. Everybody in Gen Z knew who Charlie Kirk were. Some people really appreciated what he had to say about it, and other people really despised what he had to say about it. But regardless, everybody had an opinion, and that's why what happened to Charlie Kirk was so impactful. It wasn't like, I know a lot of people try to relate it to other things that have happened, and hey, why didn't everybody react when um, other um, other things? I'm trying not to use the right words on social media. When other things happen to perhaps other politicians and et cetera, how come we didn't react? And I think that the reason is that everybody had an opinion on Charlie Kirk, and not everybody had a positive opinion, and not everybody had a negative opinion. And that's why it was so impactful. And to Generation Z, they watched him grow up, and then they watched him be killed right in front of them. They got it on their phones within minutes of it happening, and there was really no way to prevent them from seeing it. And that's one of course, the negative things about social media. I certainly wish I had could go back and not see it. Um, but you need to pay attention to your kids in these times. And only a week and a half from the event, this is something that we'll see play out over a decade or 2 decades, and we really don't understand now. Nobody understands right now what the implications of what happened will be. But we here on Facebook, and if you are in my echo chamber, you're probably you're probably Gen Xer, or you're a Boomer, or you're at best you're a millennial, and we need to go into that Gen Z echo chamber, and we need to listen to them, that they are the next generation, and we need to go be supportive, and we need to listen to all the sides. By the way, as far as the video goes, in relation to Gen Z, I have to point out one video that I found wildly disturbing, and I don't know if you've seen it yet. If you haven't, I would encourage you to go see it. And an example of what is happening to the kids more like Gen Alpha, looked like in the Gen Alpha in this video, but this was a mom who I guess was like saying she wanted to surprise her daughters that were that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift had gotten engaged. And she said, "What is the best thing that's happened?" And like one of the daughters said, "Oh, is our president dead?" And implying that was the best thing that can happen. And the mom's like, "Oh, no, no, no. What's the second best thing?" And they said, "Oh, well, did the vice president get bad things happen to them?" And then mom's like, "No, no, no." And then the third one, the kids were just guessing, and they were like, "Well, it's Elon Musk. Is something bad happened to Elon Musk?" And I have to tell you how disturbing I found that video. And I saw a lot of bad videos, but at least the people on the videos that I saw that I was offended by, for the most part, were giving their own impressions about it and were speaking their truth. And even if I disagreed with their truth, I could at least accept that they were speaking for themselves. And watching what's happening to our kids in how that are being manipulated. And this, we saw one video for one side, but I promise you it's on both sides. And anyway, I just found it super disturbing, and child abuse, and really just terrible. And I was wildly offended. And if you haven't seen it, I believe the name, I wrote her name down just because I was so offended. I think it's Christy Cole, and she's a preschool teacher, and I believe her husband's in the military. And yeah, anyway, just do better, and watch how far the world. Watch that video so that you see how far the world has come, and you will take a moment to get out of your own echo chamber and get into the lives of the kids. And they are the ones that will be really affected by this event far more than the people on Facebook today and social media in general, whether it be X or Instagram or wherever, lashing out and going at it. Yeah. Um, as far as the right to free speech, I think that is the most sacred thing in the Constitution. You have the right to free speech, but that doesn't preclude you from the right of the consequences of said free speech. And the government can't tell you not to say it, but then people don't have to socialize with you if you do say it. And I have to say, it was disappointing to see people that I knew, people that I'm in a position where sometimes people call me up and they say, I'm having this problem, and they're almost always financial problems. And I've helped some of those people through those problems, and then to see what they really thought about that situation really did affect my relationship with them. And I try not to let it affect my relationship with them. And I try to take my cue from someone like a Charlie Kirk, or someone like an Erica Kirk, who in her speech yesterday at the funeral said, even though she saw what happened to Charlie right in front of her and her kids saw it, at least she tried to find forgiveness. And we even had our president talk about that, of like what the lesson from Charlie was, that you have to find forgiveness, and sometimes that makes uncomfortable situations and uncomfortable conversations. And so I would just plead to everybody on both sides to just take a moment, and you need to find forgiveness. And that includes some of those reactions that happened to the event. And I would hope that everybody would just take a moment. All right. Um, yeah, yeah, that's it. So I'm going to go back to my regularly scheduled program starting tomorrow, where I'll come on and I'll talk about the things that I normally talk about. Don't really feel like, again, that they're appropriate to talk about in this conversation. But the big lesson for me was I need to get out of my own echo chamber, which sometimes I feel like all human beings are are subject to. And I need to get out of my own echo chamber. And what I would encourage, if somebody who has a different opinion, and this is regardless of what side you're on, that a good steward of humanity would be to take a couple moments and hear them out and try to understand the reasons for their beliefs. And it's only through that communication that we'll find some healing to go on in this country. And of course, the great irony of this is that this is what Charlie was. And he was a person who just wanted to debate, and he wanted to talk. And it's a shame that he is gone. And yeah, uh, tough week for the last week and a half. But like everybody, I'll have to get back to work. I'll have to get back to business. And yeah. All right. I will see everybody tomorrow.